Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul. In this episode, we're breaking down The Creator. The new sci-fi epic's easily one of my favourite films of the year, and throughout this video, we're going to be discussing what happens in it, our thoughts on it, and also that ending. Heavy spoilers ahead, and this is definitely one of those films I'll recommend that you go and support in the cinema. If you're one of those people who says Hollywood doesn't do anything original anymore, then please stop the video and go and check it out. I think it's that good, but if you're still here and you want to know the spoilers, or you've seen it, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into The Creator.
What's heaven?
It's a peaceful place in the sky.
Are you going to heaven?
No. You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
Then we're the same. We can't go to heaven because you're not good. And I'm not a person.
Now the movie opens with a block of text that discusses the word Nirmata. This is an important name throughout the film, and it loosely translates to mean the creator. It has other meanings like manufacturer or architect, but boiled down to its usage here, it of course fits in with the movie's title. Now Nirmata is said to be a man who understands the incredibly advanced AI technology, and he's helped to develop the ones that we meet throughout the film. In the opening, we get a brief history of what happened with the tech and learn that humanity integrated AI into every aspect of our life. Whether it was the jobs that we didn't want to do, like hitting the thumbs up button, ride control, or just acting as a companion, our reliance on AI became almost like a characteristic of the species. Some of these were called simulants, and these took on the faces of living people, giving comfort and a friendly face to those in need. Now, as we get into the movie, we discover that humanity actually developed a way to copy someone's brain and then upload this into a simulant, which we'll talk about more later on. Either way, it seemed like it was a good time, until one day AI launched a nuke from an orbital weapons platform which was called Nomad. Completely destroying central LA, this plunged the West into a war against AI in which they've attempted to wipe out all forms of it throughout the world. However, the East have harbored them and given sanctuary to the machines in a domain now known as New Asia. Now we pick up in the year 2065 with our protagonist Joshua and his wife Maya. Joshua is a double amputee, but he ended up going to Maya, who fixed him up and helped him out with his limbs. The pair fell in love, Maya got pregnant, and they're now living out on an island with the rest of her AI family. Things go awry though during a botched operation with Nomad, and we learn that Josh is actually an undercover agent. Maya discovers this too, and as she flees she's nuked from orbit by Nomad, and Josh returns to the US. It turns out that he'd been tasked with getting close to Maya, and this was due to her father being Nirmata. Now the government thought that if they took them out, they could then end the war and finally stop AI from developing as fast as it did. As we learn throughout the film though, Maya ended up taking on this role, and in secret she's created the most advanced AI ever. Scanning her own embryo, she built a child based on her and Josh's baby, which also comes with the ability to change and grow. Known as Alpha Rho, this is a reference to the Alpha and Omega, aka the beginning and the end. Now Alpha O, or rather Alfie for short, she can interact with all electronic items, and once she grows powerful enough, she'll be able to turn the tide and destroy the satellite Nomad. And we see Josh has been living a solitary life, with him regularly being interrogated about what he actually knows. He's constantly downplayed what went on with Maya, and we discover his backstory through the events of the film. Although he's taken a step back from army life, he's pulled back into it upon being shown footage that Maya's still alive. Tasked with destroying the facility that houses Alpha O, he realizes there's something different about her, and over the film, the pair start to bond. In hindsight, we know this is the embodiment of his daughter, and though he's tasked with killing her, he finds it difficult to do. He catches Alfie drawing a picture of a tattoo Maya had, and he basically wants her to lead him to his wife. Now what's great about The Creator is that you have so many sides in it that constantly try and get their hands on the pair. You've got the Americans who think Josh is done a runner, and then the AI who hate him because his mission is to kill her. In the West's eyes, Alfie's seen as a weapon and thus must be taken out, which Josh almost does. At its heart though, this is a father and daughter movie about him trying to get back to his wife and correct the wrongs of the past. Unaware this will create a family, but things unfortunately don't end up turning out that way. Upon reaching Maya, we see she's in a comatose state and has been on life support since that first strike. Simulants are unable to harm Namada, and thus they've been waiting for someone like Josh to turn off the machines. Copying her brain, he then shuts them down, and all this happens as the US arrive. I think what the film does excellently is that it holds a mirror up to man and shows all the evil things that we are capable of. We actually learn that the attack on LA was down to a coding error and that the AI actually had nothing to do with it. Now, you will end up feeling for these machines as you see them scream in agony and act in a way that makes them truly human. Even some of the people we come across plead out for Josh not to kill their bots, but he constantly says that they're not real. Now, at the heart of the creator is him learning that they are, and it's a theme that's at the heart of a lot of sci-fi films. Blade Runner asked the question whether if a human was replicated perfectly, if that would make them human or they'd still be a machine. If everything from bones to tissue to personality was the same, but the difference was they had a serial number somewhere, would that make them something that wasn't considered real? It's up for you to decide that yourself, but I love how there's this ambiguity and shades of grey in the film. The creative team do a great job of making us go back and forth on that and questioning whether we ourselves would sympathise with the AI. It's a movie that will also have you asking, are we the baddies? Because humans kill both man and machine without prejudice. However, come the final act, even the most hardened AI-hating character, they come to realise that it's not all black and white. In the movie, Josh's boss is Colonel Howell, and she's played brilliantly by Alison Janney. We discover that she had two sons who died due to the machines, with one being tortured for hours and hours and hours. Hal makes it to Namada and asks for Alfie to be handed over, but in this moment she's shot at by Ken Watanabe's Harren. He attaches an explosive directly to her back, which detonates after a certain time period. However, in this moment Alfie disables it, and I think you can see that she truly understands. Unfortunately, this doesn't last long as Alfie and Josh are forced to flee, which reactivates the explosive and then kills her and her men. During this time though, Josh grabs a copy of Maya's brain, which becomes important in his final few moments. Throughout the film, he's constantly said he'd give up everything to have another moment with her, and not only has he freed her in death, but he's also retained a copy. Maya was seen as someone that was stuck in limbo and unable to go to heaven, and this was due to her vegetative state. Now, heaven is another idea laced throughout the film, where the characters constantly questioning whether they'll get to go. Now, due to the lack of intelligence on the mission, Josh's true goals aren't known, and he's lauded as a hero. They just see him as someone who's brought in the weapon, and they're now free to launch attacks across New Asia. Now, as he's brought in, one of the soldiers says they're not real, and he clearly sees himself reflected in this guy. However, as he's come to learn, they are more than machines, and he does start to realise exactly how deep they go. Now, it's said that Alfie won't let them shut her down though, and thus Josh is sent in to be the one to deal the killing blow. However, all he does is put her on standby, and as her body's taken across LA, they make their final move. Boarding a flight, they hijack it and go directly to Nomad, where Alfie's sent to the center to shut the thing down. On the outside, Josh scales the satellite and he places an explosive onto one of the nukes. Now inside, Alfie comes across a model based on her mother, which she activates by putting the brain scan into. Unfortunately for her, this doesn't start up immediately, and thus she heads out to Josh, where the pair both head for an escape pod. Josh is caught and he has to sacrifice himself in order for her to make it back to Earth. He talks about how he never thought that he'd get to heaven, but him helping Alfie is what guaranteed he will. Now in some ways, we symbolically see this play out as Josh walks through the station and gets into the garden. Here he sees Maya and the pair run towards each other, which obviously echoes images of the afterlife. Most of us, when we imagine something like heaven, it's us being reunited with our loved ones that have passed away. The garden surrounding and just the pair running to each other is of course symbolic of that on a number of different levels. Nomad itself is the quote-unquote heavens, with it hanging above Earth and looking down on all. It's very much like a god's eye and able to be touched, with it being a benevolent entity that rains down on all. The idea of God is a more abstract thing as well, as humans themselves have now learned to create life. Thus the idea of God's something we've managed to match, and I love this subtext that's laced throughout the film. But technically, Maya isn't real, she is just a machine, but even as an audience, you don't feel that seeing this scene. This is very much Josh reunited with his wife and getting to go to the heaven that he always wanted to be in. It just goes to show how much we've become attached to the machines too, and we can totally see them as being real people. Also, I know there's some back and forth over whether Josh should have died, but due to how he acted, I think the guy kinda needed to. Let's not beat around the bush yet, he wasn't a good dude all the time, and this movie's very much about his redemption arc. Now, his sacrifice isn't in vain, as we see on Earth that Nomad comes crashing down. Both humanity and AI celebrate side by side, with us getting several shots of machines and people hugging it out. I think throughout the film it's shown AI isn't as bad as it's made out to be, and that it doesn't have the desire to kill that humans somewhat possess. We of course evolved during a time where it was a necessity to survive, whereas the AI were created when there wasn't as much need for it. Thus, they don't have our violent past and history, and would rather coexist alongside us than wiping each other out. And that's something that a lot of humans share with them, clearly seeing the souls inside of the machine. Even a soldier that Josh worked with at the start of the movie, he ends up falling in love with a simulant woman, and it does go to show how we can attach ourselves to them. So yeah, there's definitely these themes, which the creator itself hammers home perfectly. In the end, we close out with Alfie looking out on a world where the machines can be free alongside the humans. They'll no longer be targeted from the sky and stamped out by the West, and the war will finally end with us all coexisting. Haran at one point talks about what would happen if the machines won, and he just says that it would be nothing. Humanity will be given the same rights that the machines have, and I feel a bit bad for slagging off the Secret Invasion title sequence now. No, you know what I'm saying. And actually really like the idea of coexistence rather than extermination. That's something that AI films are often painting out, with the Terminator and Matrix being the key contenders. In the ladders though, even the humans and machines have to learn to live together, and I think that's the main message that the movie's driving home. We very much open Pandora's box in creating technology that's smarter, faster, and in every way starting to surpass us. I have to admit, it's worrying when even the creative things we do are being copied by machines and put out at a faster rate than we could ever do. I think the creator has a more optimistic message though, instead of giving us the nihilism that we've had. The movie's about someone who was taught to hunt machines, learning to love them and see them as human. That's a true message that I take from the film, with it saying artificial life is still life. Now, as for my thoughts on the movie, I thought it was an incredible achievement, with it easily being one of my favourite films of the year. I think at some points the pacing might have been a bit too fast, and I would have liked to have remained in certain moments longer. For example, there's a couple of cuts where we see Josh coming across copies of Maya, but we don't really see the emotional impact that it has. This has been the man's mission in the movie, but it just goes by so quickly and doesn't give us a gut punch. Just little things like that I'll lace throughout the film, but they're very minor nitpicks in what's an incredible achievement. The creator is such a well-made and thought-out film that it was difficult for me to not feel like I was seeing an instant classic unfold. Whether it's the chapter titles, art design, or lived-in world, it all feels like something that has a unique style of its own. It's incredible this was done on an $80 million budget when we've got $300 million movies that look like they've got PlayStation 2 graphics. I think this movie can almost be like an expose on Hollywood that slams it for its bad CGI and unoriginal films. This is an incredible piece, and I really hope those constantly screaming there's nothing good anymore, you guys go out and see it. Give it all the support it deserves, and obviously I'm sure you can tell that I really did like it. A movie like this that's based around the human condition is of course also relying on its key performances. Everyone feels like they're really bringing their all, with Alfie's actress especially being a standout. Played by Madeline Voiles, this is her very first film, but she handles every emotion expertly and gives a cracking performance. John David Washington's at his best too, giving what I feel is his most ranged character. I thought in Tenet he was a bit subdued, but here he really gets to show off his great acting skills. The side characters work really well too, especially Chris Finch. Chris Finch, bloody good rep. And all in all, it's an incredible film. I think that movies like this should definitely be supported, so make sure you go out and check out this film. Send that message to Hollywood. We want more original works like this, where they've clearly put an effort to make something special. All in all, I completely love the film, and that's why it's getting a 9 out of 10. Now, obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You know, am I saying it's too good? Am I not giving it that perfect 10 that it deserves? Comment below, yeah, and just let me know.
Seatbelts.
If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out. Now, if you want to get some heavy spoilers merch, we've also got a t-shirt line located just below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Theory Time one, House of the Dragon stuff, Marvel tees and more. We drop new designs on there all the time too, so definitely keep an eye out for them, and yeah, huge thank you if you've bought one. Now if you want something else to watch, we've got a breakdown of the latest episode of Ahsoka, which will be linked on screen right now. Talk about all the Easter eggs in it, lots of things to go over, so yeah, definitely head over there right after this. Out of the way, huge thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. You take care. Peace.